What's going on, people? We got some preemptive patch news. We're getting a patch tomorrow, August 29th. And today they brought us news of the balance changes that are coming in the patch. But I figure while we're here, why not just like talk about the balance, the patch in general. So that's what we're going to do today. So to start things off, we're going to talk about the things that are not balance related. We're going to talk about the regular changes. Because there are some good changes, and I don't just bring, like, random crap news your guys' way. I only talk about, like, things in patch notes if it's something that I think is a quality change for the game. So, like, a regular bug fix, I kind of leave out. So today, what do we got going on? Exterior menus are being redesigned and or polished for mobile and desktop clients. Obviously, we haven't seen any screenshots of this yet, so it's hard to say whether this is a good or bad thing. And honestly, I think the UI in both the mobile and desktop versions of the game post-client refresh has been pretty solid. It's been pretty responsive, goes pretty fast. I have absolutely no complaints with it whatsoever. But if they're still continuing to improve on things, absolutely no problem with that, and I'm excited to see what improvements they made. Hopefully it's nothing too drastic, because like I said, I think the client's in a pretty good shape right now, but we'll see. Next up, titles are now searchable checkbox filters in the titles menu. This is so sweet. If you guys see when I play either my Lich deck or the Centurion deck, when I try to bring you guys updates on how close we are to hitting those titles, I have to scroll through the titles like an idiot. And when the game first launched, there wasn't a ton of titles, so it was pretty easy to find the things you needed. But now, a couple years into the game, we have so many titles that it could be hard to scroll and find a specific one. So having searchable titles as well as filters for titles, I think is a huge quality of life change. I don't change my filter. I don't change my title that often, but I am very happy that that's something that they added just for when I'm looking for how to get or what titles I'm missing. Another one. This is so huge for me because I'm fat-fingered and clumsy, and I forget when I'm building a deck and when I'm not. It is now possible to cancel deck changes via the red X in the upper left-hand corner of the deck building interface. So what I always do all the time is I'm scrolling, I'm looking at a deck, and I'll accidentally click a card, and I don't remember what card I clicked. Now, if your deck runs all 3 ofs and then unique legendaries, not a big deal. You can just find which 3 of is missing. But sometimes I'm running 2 ofs, and maybe I'm running a legendary I don't typically run, or whatever, and a lot of my decks are sometimes in flux, so I don't have them all memorized. And if I misclick one, then I have to go pull up my old deck code, load that deck code, find which thing I messed up, fix it. Being able to just be like, sorry, I didn't mean to make that change, throw out all changes, is such a nice addition. Additionally, sometimes I'll have a deck, let's say Tinker Assassin, for example, and I'll be like, I wonder what it would look like if I cut Assassin's Beetles and Fate Weavers and I added this other card instead. So sometimes I'll do that in-game, and being able to just hit X and have it go back to how it was if I decide that those changes weren't worth it is so much nicer than having to then re-remove the cards you added and then add your old ones back in. So this is another very nice quality of life change in my opinion. Execute uses a new video effect. Not bad. I guess we'll see what it looks like. Execute isn't seen super commonly played anymore, but I'm completely fine with that. I like more video effects, the better. I think it makes the game feel more like alive, more unique, more interesting. We also got the alternate version of Crushing Blow now uses a new alternate effect. So that is the... What was that? Mad Prince, Madhouse Collection, or whatever back in the day. Back when we got the Dapper Defender. We also got the Crushing Blow that is a boulder instead of a bottle. So we'll see what that one looks like. As well as Crocodile Brute now uses the regular crocodile like water splash when it comes into the game. Nice little addition. He's a crocodile. Most crocodiles have I think all crocodiles have the effect besides Crocodile Brute. So it makes sense that he has it as well. Next up, this isn't so much a thing for me as much as it is I'm happy that the competitive community is getting this. So, when spectating an opponent or spectating a game on a friends list, if you are friends with both players in the game, you can see both players' hands while spectating, which, as the note says, this is huge for tournament gameplay. Most of our tournament organizers have gotten around this by having 2 different people in the tournament spectate each player, and then they have just kind of a cutout of one player's hand being shown on the top side of their client when they make their scenes for the tournament. Obviously, that's a lot of work, and things can go wrong, and then you need 2 people to spectate. This is a huge quality of life add for our tournament organizers, our tournament teams, our tournament players. This is a huge addition, as well as now it opens the door for if you just kind of want to host a small tournament, or for example, if I wanted to host a tournament just on the channel, I wouldn't need to get multiple people involved. I could kind of just host my own small thing, spectate both players, and kind of cast it that way. So obviously this is a huge addition. We're still not quite at having a dedicated tournament mode yet, but having the ability to spectate both hands in client with one person goes a huge long way into improving the quality of our tournament experiences, and I'd expect that this is the first of multiple improvements that we'll see towards the tournament side of things for the game. And finally, not finally, we still have balance changes to talk about, but the last non-balance change is going to be cards are revealed in the game to you from your opponent's hand. And what does that mean? So if on turn 1 your opponent plays Crown Quartermaster, typically you would need to remember that they had a dagger in their hand for the rest of the game. So if they have 6 cards, you have to know that one of those 6 cards is the Steel Dagger, and it just was a skill thing or a memorization thing to remember that they had that dagger and it wasn't a different card, and that they have that one reach available to them at all times. So what the change is actually going to be is any card that gets revealed to you, so Steel Dagger, if someone plays Sentinel Reclaimer, both the Steel Sword and the Dagger, if somebody soul tears a creature back to hand, any card that you physically see in-game that is revealed to you will be revealed in your opponent's hand the entire game. So now, if your opponent has that Steel Dagger in hand, the Steel Dagger will be reversed, and I can see it at all times. And not only that, if it is a creature or whatever, and it gets buffed either by Rally or by Devour going onto a dragon that is revealed, buffs will be revealed as well on the card since it was revealed to you. A lot of people are going back and forth on whether they like that or not, whether they think it's a good idea. I'm kind of neutral on it. I see the both pros and cons to both sides. I think it'll be pretty useful overall, not having to sit there and remember certain things, especially from my perspective as I'm making videos and talking about a lot of things. So sometimes it's easy to lose track of that Steel Dagger that's in their hand. So having it revealed to me at all times means that I can focus more on the commentary and still have all of the same amount of information revealed to me at all times. So I appreciate that, and I think it'll be a nice thing, especially for people who are playing on mobile or something like that. It can be tough to maintain all of the knowledge that you needed before, so having some stuff revealed to you that isn't like unfair advantage, it's public knowledge, I think is a pretty quality addition. So next up, we've got balance changes. This is a very light balance patch, so we're not going to talk about it super long, but let's get on into it because it's addressing 2 of the more commonly mentioned cards in the game. First up is Alfiq Conjurer. Very small change, but still not a nothing change. It's going from a 6-cost 3/4 to a 6-cost 3/3. What does that mean? First, Alfiq, if it summons a Flame Atronach, both of them die to Ice Storm. It also means that Alfiq Conjurer dies to things like Crushing Blow and Channeled Storm when they're unbuffed. It always died to Lightning Bolt, so that wasn't a big deal. And it also now can be traded into by a fair amount of 2-drops and most 3-drops now. Actually, almost all 3-drops can trade into Alfiq Conjurer now, whereas 4 health means you usually need to get bumped into the 4 or 5 cost range. It's not a absolutely nothing change. However, I still think the card is incredibly powerful. Really, the only deck that gets better against Alfiq Conjurer overall is going to be control decks, because now their Ice Storm is that much more powerful. Your average mid-range mirror Alfiq Conjurer is still going to be incredibly strong. The only difference, I guess, is if you're in a mid-range mirror and your opponent only has a bunch of 2-drops on the board, which at that point your 6-drop was probably going to gain you enough tempo and board advantage that you were going to probably be in a strong position anyway. So I think this only really makes a difference in the mid-range versus control matchup, or makes the biggest difference in the mid-range versus control matchup. Whereas the other matchups, it'll still make a difference, just not as huge of a difference. Alfiq Conjurer is still an amazing card. I don't think that this nerf will do very much towards weakening the almost entirely blue meta that we're in right now. And I think that's where a little bit of my disappointment with the changes come from, is not so much that I think Alfiq Conjurer should have been killed, but maybe they should have been hitting more cards so that we're not just seeing almost entirely only mid-range or control blue decks on the ladder right now. And Alfiq Conjurer is getting played in all different types of decks. Aggro, mid-range, and control all ran Alfiq Conjurer, so it made sense from that perspective to hit the card. I just don't think that blue decks in general are going to take enough of a hit to where things will really change up that much. Next up, we've got Luzrah. This is unfortunate for my Tinker Assassin deck, but Lazara's buff, as most people expected, is going to drop from +2/+2 to +1/+1, and that may seem like nothing or relatively minor, but it's actually a pretty big difference. Lazara becoming a 4/5 is pretty big versus a 3/4. Means Lazara traded with a lot of things as a 2-drop, and giving +2/+2 to your 6-cost or higher cards is obviously very quality. So it went from a net +4/+4 down to a +2/+2. I still think Lazara is a very good card. Blue has a fair amount of 2-drops, but not a lot that you like to play like right away, besides maybe like Wardcrafter. The other ones like Harpy, you want to play more reactively. The 0/1 that gives you a steel sword, you want to play with other stuff on the board. So there's not a ton of things that you want to play on 2 more proactively, and Lazara can fill that role, as well as having some late game potential to scale with, and as well as scale your 6 and higher cost cards. I think Lazara is still very good. It's just going to be less of a blowout play when you play things like Lazara. And also, it's going to weaken the super high roll scenario of playing Lazara into Alfiq that summons a Storm Atronach, because that used to summon the Atronach that would get +2/+2, Alfiq would get +2/+2, Lazara would get +2/+2. I think she would also get +4/+4 maybe. I don't even know. But yeah, so that was like a huge high roll scenario. Now the net stats of that got cut down to +3/+3 total of the buff instead of +6/+6. So again, Lazara took a hit. I don't think it's anywhere near as impactful as the Alfiq hit was. I think the Lazara hit just lowers the ceiling of high rolls. I don't think you were getting more than 1 proc off a Lazara often anyway, if any. So I think Lazara just got her high roll potential weakened, whereas Alfiq did take a marked power hit across the board. But again, I don't think either one of these hits really hits blue that hard. I think blue's still fine. Alfiq Conjurer is still an incredible card. I don't think much is going to change from that front. So on that side of things, it was a little bit disappointing because it's not really going to shake things up per se, as much as it's just going to weaken one specific strong card in a meta that is almost entirely blue decks. But I mean, that's fine. We have more expansions coming soon. I guess we'll see what happens with that. But let me know what you guys think of both the balance changes and the patch down below in the comment section. Looking forward to seeing what you guys think. Thank you guys all very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.